together, it brings unity. Just like when all of you sing the song, it really brings it great. And I know whenever we sing the song and we have flags, everyone's waving the flag. It really brings everyone together for a few minutes. And that's a really special thing.
Good evening and welcome to Joe Walton Stadium here in Moon Township, Pennsylvania for Robert Morris Rugby, presented by Angelia's Pizza. Tonight we have RMU playing against Penn West, California, but better known locally as Cal U, the name that they've carried for many, many years. This is David Ballarotto, joined by Angie Smarto, who is here and very familiar with Robert Morris in many capacities. Right, Smarto?
Yeah, thanks, Bob. We're going to call each other probably by the names we usually call each other to be less formal. But so Dave here, yes, I'm the women's coach here at Robert Morris, and it's our 10th anniversary season. And the Robert Morris men here, they're coached by Sean Craigo. He's been here for almost 20 years. Cal U, and then they've played each other every year. It's a great local rivalry, so it'll be fun to see tonight who can pull out first.
And coming into this game, we see Robert Morris. This is their third game of the season, and they've been struggling this year, the men.
Yeah, they started off a little slow, but they started off playing against IUP, defending National Sevens champions, defending 15s, runner-up, and they're currently ranked number 1 in D2. So that first game is a challenge game to prepare them, always getting a good test. So the first loss score, not really representative of the talent that they have because they were really punching above their weight. Last week they played against John Carroll, and they lost a much closer game, 36-24. So, but Cal U did start the season with a win last week. Yes, so we're excited to see who's going to win tonight, but John Tucci is going to sing the national anthem for us on the field now.
We pay tribute to our American flag and the Stars and Stripes. The American eagle on top of the flag are a great country bird, representing that great flag. And we also honor every soldier and veteran, policeman, fireman, first responder ever lived. Men and women that gave up everything in their life so these flags will stand on this field. And you can play the game of rugby here in America. It's an honor to all of us Americans here and throughout the world. Please join in sing compassion with me, with all heart and soul. We honor America and honor freedom with the flag. We sing the national anthem of the United States of America. We can start this evening by doing the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, sing, can you see my dawn's early light? What so proudly we hailed, and the twilight was gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ribbons we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang loud, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does a star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and of the free and the home of the brave.
And there you have the national anthem being performed here by
John Tucci.
John Tucci.
John Tucci is longtime groundskeeper of Robert Morris University. He's worked here for, I think, almost as long as I've been alive. There's a big celebration for him. Last year, he was president for the day. He has great relationships with the students here on campus, and he really is a legend. He does these performances a lot for club sports, as well as in the area. He does, little leagues and soccer tournaments and stuff because he thinks it's important for teams to get into this kind of professional mindset and have somebody kind of amp them up this way in getting them ready like the pros do. So thanks, John Tucci. We appreciate you as always. It's a great Robert Morris tradition, and now you can see the guys in white here. They're getting amped up for our annual homecoming Thursday night game here.
As I like to say, let's go Bobby Moe.
Let's go Bobby Moe. So, yeah, Robert Morris, the home team, will be wearing white. It looks like they're going to be kicking off on the right side of your screen going left. The visitors, Cal U, is wearing black and red, and they're going to be on the left receiving the kickoff. Our center referee tonight is Ian Seaton, one of the best referees, not only in the area, but in the country.
In the country, sure.
Yeah.
And it looks like the assistant ARs will just be representatives of the team, which has its pros and cons, but mostly cons. Otherwise, they may not necessarily be the most learned people in terms of the skills, laws of rugby and so on, but they'll be the ones who will be on there to helping Ian making some decisions. There's the kick, and it's more than 10 meters, so we're ready to go. Almost had a little bit of a drop there, a knock forward, but we have Cal U pushing up against RMU at about the 20.
So while you're on looking here, just so you know, there are a lot of lines on the field. The out of bounds line is going to be the sky blue that you can see on the edge of the field is going to be out of bounds into touch. And then both teams will be scoring in the football end zone, but we will be calling it the try zone.
And Cal trying to look for some sort of momentum here as we continue to see a lot of activity, but not a lot of forward movement. So let's see what this kick does. The kick goes into touch. So we will now have a line out.
All right, so if you're a parent or a friend and you're watching rugby for the first time, this will be fun from the first minute for you. So much like soccer or basketball or other ball sports, the ball went out of bounds, we need to throw it in, okay? Here's the rule, though. In rugby, if your feet are off the ground, you're not allowed to be tackled. So what we'll see here, Robert Morris is going to throw the ball in, and then in this line-out maneuver, the Robert Morris men and Cal U, they're going to pick their own teammates up in the air and try to safely get them the ball, and then that's how they're going to secure possession while the ball is in the air because they can't be tackled that way.
And this is always a little bit tricky for the guy who's throwing the ball in because it has to be straight. At least it has to be straight as far as the ref sees it. And we'll see how this goes. There's the throw.
We're going to have... All right, so fielded cleanly by Robert Morris. There was a small penalty on Cal U because the defense is not allowed to jump before the attack is, but...
And number 12 pushing right through. That's Caden Owens, who's a senior, playing it inside center. Now it's off to, I believe that was number 6, Nick Cromie, junior flanker with that. And look at number 8 just pushing through. He's almost ready to get into the try zone. We're very close. Good ball defense, though, by Cal.
Yeah, Robert Morris is really running downhill. They seem to have a size advantage and kind of took some quick momentum, but Cal U's defense is starting to stiffen up now that they're protecting their own try line.
And Cal's coming to this game. They were playing Kenyon last week, and they won the game, 31-12.
There's a little dish and a little space.
And taking the ball in for the try.
I believe that was number 13.
Blake Hodak, sophomore outside center, getting the 5 points on the board for RMU. And for folks who are not familiar with the scoring system, it's when all is said and done, it's just like football where the final will be 7 points. But for the actual try itself, where they might touch down the ball in the try zone, it's 5 points. And then when they do the conversion kick, that's for 2 points. So they're looking to take this into a 7-0 lead here with the conversion kick. And the conversion kick needs to be made from the same point of where the try was scored. It can be anywhere on the field, any distance back from there, but they just have to be at the same place where the ball was touched down. Now, but I believe he touched it down twice, didn't he?
It looked like he was going to. So in football, that's always that end zone camera angle, right? As long as they break the plane, it's a touchdown. Okay. In rugby, the play is still live until the ball is grounded. So what we saw that player do is when he's in the try zone, he scored. If he touches it down right away, he scored, but now his kicker has to kick from a less favorable angle. So I think he almost So kick was no good.
Yeah, he left him right in the middle for it, but Matt Bennett struggled a little bit with that to get the ball up high enough. So no two-point conversion for them. And the way 15's rugby works is they're going to get a chance to play again because Cal U or Penn West Cal will be kicking the ball off to the Colonials.
Right.
And just like that, we're almost 5 minutes into the game. And going here with the kick.
There you can hear the fantastic Robert Morris marching band in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear them or not, but they were clarifying before the game when was a good time to play, because as you can, they're used to playing for football games when there's really long breaks in between things, and they're like, do we have enough time after this? I was like, no. So they're really short breaks because we want to keep the ball moving here in rugby.
They dropped the ball, and Ian is calling that a knock, so we are going to have a scrum now, which is another thing that comes about when there's a stoppage of play at the game. So this will be a chance for the two teams to try to take possession and get the momentum going, and this scrum will be put in by Robert Morris, if I'm not mistaken. No, actually, it will be Cal.
Yeah, so what we have here, so again, new people, if you're watching, so this is just, think of a face-off in hockey or tip-off in basketball. Both teams are going to have a fair contest to restart the game here. And this is basically, nope. So we had a little bit of instability. So what this is, we have 8 players from each team. These are called the forwards, and they are all, it looks, you hear this a lot in sports. Oh, there's a real scrum in front of the net. Oh, there's a real scrum dog pile. This is not a dog pile. This is a really organized thing because you have to be for it to be safe. So we have 8 players working really hard together against the 8 players of the other team. And so now Cal U, oh, it looks like ball is stolen.
Yeah, it was, and that's number 8 breaking away. There's no whistle, so he's free to go. He's got some support. He needs a little bit more. He goes down, and they're ready to form a ruck. And coming in for it is number 7. Penn West Cal jumping over, so they're being sent back 10 meters, and now it's a kick for Robert Morris.
Yeah, great pick by the 8-man. He had such a great breakthrough, and that was a nice kick for touch. So they gained a lot of yards here. And then no one was with him. So by the time he got tackled, that really slowed the play down. So they lucked out that Cal U drew a penalty, and they got to keep the ball because for a second there, it looks like they were going to lose it.
And Nick Haynes is the hooker who's throwing the ball in. Being watched, of course, again by Ian and the touch judge, who is the gentleman with the black shirt on and the blue jeans. And his job is to make sure that he's marking the proper place in terms of where the ball actually crossed the plane and went into touch. Touch is the rugby term for out of bounds. And that light blue line is where he needs to be. There's the throw. And the 8-man pushing forward. There's a good ruck. Out to the backs, and taking that one in is number 12. Caden Owens, senior inside center for Robert Morris, putting another 5 points on the board. And so, less than 10 minutes into the game, RMU is showing that that 69-5 loss against IUP wasn't necessarily representative of their skill. At least not the skill that we're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, Robert Morris has historically had a really strong club. Lots of histories of winning the conference, going to national. So this is a team who always wants to win. And just this last year, we've had a lot of reorganization of the local teams. So Cal U hasn't been in this league in a while. So this is kind of a play-up game for them from their history. And they always have a lot of guys. Their coach, Dave Besteda, has been working really hard. They have an alumni working with them as their speed coach. but we just haven't seen them with the ball in hand yet. So we're not. I don't know what they can do because right now it's really hard to play defense for 10 minutes straight. So they need to create an opportunity to turn this ball over and get the ball in hand so we can see what they can do on attack.
So they added 2 points for the conversion. I believe that was, I couldn't tell for sure if it was number 6 or number 8 who did the kick, but it doesn't matter as far as the points are concerned. On the scoreboard, we've got a 12-0 lead here for Robert Morris. And there's the kick by Cal. And you can do that. So that is their player moving forward, caught his own kick, taking the Cal players all the way down into closer than the 22-meter line. So a very good offensive effort now by Penn West Cal.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Robert Morris thinks they have this nice cushy lead, and they weren't ready for that really quick attack play right off of a kickoff, which I'm always here for.
Sure.
All right, we have a penalty on Robert Morris, so they need to retreat 10 yards. So we're going to have a bit of a, I would say going backwards. Had a handling error, but they're going to keep possession.
And breaking through. Cal getting closer, closer, closer. Meeting solid resistance and defense by Robert Morris and the Colonials.
Robert Morris is trying really hard to counter ruck and steal this ball. And Cal U's just trying to hang in there because they are undersized to Robert Morris.
Pushing through, trying to maul their way in there. But getting a good pushback, good strong resistance by Robert Morris.
Yeah, they're going to have to try a different strategy because right now they're only going backwards. So if they've got some speed somewhere else, they need to find a little other space.
Yeah. Again, and they need support too. So the player goes into the tackle, which is fine because they keep possession of the ball, able to find someone who's able to at least make some momentum go forward here. It's always good to have basically an angular position too when you're on offense. Think of it, I always like to compare it to two different games. Checkers when you're on offense and foosball when you're on defense.
Right. So we had the ball lost forward by Cal U in contact. So that's a bummer, working hard. They had a lot of possession down here, could not break the defensive line of Robert Morris, but they did turn it over here. So definitely I would be watching for another big run from their 8-man here in the center of the field, but we'll see what happens with the Robert Morris scrum.
In, and looks like Robert Morris is winning this scrum so far.
They were a little more ready this time, but 8-man still shook them.
And they've got almost a 3-on-1 trying to bring him down, but Cal got the ball. And there must have been a whistle, something happened that we didn't see. So Cal is sent back 10 meters, and kick now for Robert Morris.
Yeah, Cal U player not happy with that call after he got the ball out. He was able to break free, but.
And so the ball goes into touch. And just to clarify for people, as when they kick the ball into touch, that is where they have possession of the ball to put the ball back into the playing field. So it's always to your advantage to try to do that if you can.
Yeah, so off of a penalty, you have to start from a kick. So that means you can kick it to yourself and run immediately.
Which we saw.
Which we've seen. Or you can take this kick out of bounds and start with a line-out platform. So, especially when they're a little deeper in the zone, the line-out can be effective, but had a little bit of a handling error here, so this could be dangerous, but referee's going to call it back.
He's sending Cal back 10.
I think he called obstruction. So the obstruction penalty is based. So in football, you can block. So that means like somebody who doesn't have the ball can be in the way of somebody who has the ball, so they can't be tackled. Can't do that in rugby. So a Robert Morris player was interfering with Cal U's ability to tackle them. So that was the penalty that they just called there.
Then you just had the tackle that some refs may pull a yellow card on, but we'll see what's happening here. So a trainer's coming out to take a look at this player. So there's number 6, Malik Smith.
Yeah, Robert Morris, defender, came in pretty high. We had some face-to-face contact. Both of them are shook up on the ground right now getting looked at. So we do have some, obviously we have athletic trainers here on the field, and both players will be examined to see if they are safe. It looks like number 6.
Looks like Malik Smith. It looks like
he's coming off. And I think Robert Morris sub just came in, so it looks like he's coming off as well. So just an unlucky hit coming in. So that's number 4 for Robert Morris is coming off.
Jr.
Yeah, so we had 2 subs in, so we're not sure who came on because we can't see there's numbers yet, but both those players coming off, which is the safe and right thing to do. If you have any concerns of a head injury, you need to be removed from the field immediately so you can be checked out and to not, further your injury as well. So we will restart with a scrum here.
And pulling the time back on, so here we go. With the scrum almost at midfield. Robert Morris leading by a score of 12-0.
Cal must have traditionally they would the attacking team would feed the scrum from the other side of the scrum, but they must have a strategy of why they're doing it this way. But they have been losing scrums, so I'm not really sure why they are continuing to do this, but we are in and they lost another one, so here's another big run after a turnover from Robert Morris. Oh, nice little, great idea. Not an unfortunate execution there. So he tried to pop it off the ground to one of his teammates. He wasn't ready. He knocked it forward. So we're going to have another scrum. This one's also going to be the Cal U. First 10 minutes were really fluid. Now we're starting to see a little more stoppage of play. Few more penalties and knock-ons.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a lot of energy that's being expended maybe a bit too early in the game. We're only 24 and a half minutes left in the game, so we're 16 minutes in roughly, and we're already down a player on each team, so the reserves aren't as steep as people might think. So
yeah, there is a fixed number of subs in rugby, so at least half of them have to play the whole game. So obviously, making the injury substitution is good, and for player safety and welfare. But that's it would be unusual to sub somebody that early in a game under regular circumstances. So there was a scrum penalty against Robert Morris. I believe they were engaging early.
Ryan trying to kick for touch, but the ball stays in. That's a live ball. Being picked up by Robert Morris, who's just able to break through. He's fully defended, but he's got the ability to just slam down the field right now at about the 35-meter mark with this ruck.
Great counter. I believe it's their fullback.
Good pop off to number 8, who's going down. There's the ruck. Almost potentially could have been an offsides call against Cal, but we're going. And number 12, I believe, again, going into the try zone. And there's another 5 points for Robert Morris. So far for homecoming, it is a good night for the team. That is number 12, Caden Owens, the inside center, who is a senior.
Yeah, Robert Morris has been really sticking to their game plan. They are crashing with their forwards 2, 3 a few times. It's sucking in the Cal U defense. They're really biting into that. They have to collapse in because they're so undersized in the physicality. and that's leaving a lot of room for their centers. So they're attacking with their forwards in and tight, and then it's opening wide up, and right now both of their centers, 12 and 13, are just running pretty much untouched into the try zone here.
So scrum half Aiden Dye getting ready for this conversion kick. And that kick, well,
it looked no good.
One touch judge says yes, one says no, so it's up to the referee anyway.
He didn't whistle.
He didn't whistle,
so that's a no.
So that's a no. So yeah, so we're at a 17-0 lead for Robert Morris against Cal.
Yeah, so that's why if you're an assistant referee, this is one of just a small pet peeve of mine. If you're an assistant referee and you're calling the goal, it's either up, you put your flag up if they make it, and if they don't make it, you don't wave it off. Right. You just do nothing. Because then we get a confusing...
That kick did not go 10 meters, I don't believe. Sure didn't look like it, so...
So the ruling off of these kickoffs is, as Dave is saying, is that they're supposed to go, we're saying meters because we're used to talking like that, but we are playing on a football field. So it didn't go 10. But, so if it doesn't go 10, Robert Morris has two choices. They can either let it go, and then that'll be a penalty on Cal U, or they can elect to play it, and so that player was like, no, I'm going to go take this short ball, but then he knocked it on and then lost it. So kind of a lucky break for Cal U. If they can keep it off this scrum, they've lost almost all of them. We're going to go with an 8-man pick. Let's see if they can get anything going on offense here in midfield. Immediate penalty and turnover for Cal U. Player on the ground's holding onto the ball. Once you're on the ground, you have to let go.
And when we talk about a knock, that simply means if the ball went forward from the player's hand. You can kick the ball forward, you can run the ball forward, but you can't throw or drop the ball forward. So there goes that kick into touch, over the hill.
Yeah, very into touch. I am certain that some first-year player is running down that hill to go get it right now. You cannot tell because it's dark, but we are on top of a hill, and right behind the stadium where the grass got kicked is like an 80-degree hill that you'll sometimes see the varsity athletes running up, and it certainly doesn't look like fun. And then I joke with my players, like, do you want to go run hills? And they're like, look at me. I'm like, I'm kidding. Like, I encourage them to do their own fitness, but we're not running up the hill.
And there's the, we just said, so there was a knock there once the ball came out from the line out. And so now we are going to have a scrum. And the other thing, not only is there a steep hill down there, but there's a road under that hill. So sometimes you've actually seen people get their car hit by one of these balls as they're going down the hill.
Or possibly run over. So Cal U gets another chance here in midfield. They're really struggling to maintain possession. But they've won this scrum. So let's see. They're swinging it left.
And again, just really strong defense right now by Robert Morris, keeping them from going anywhere. So it's up to Cal to stay calm and stay focused, stick with their game plan, and build the momentum that they have an opportunity to make. There we had another knock by Cal, so we're going to have ourselves another scrum. As the clock ticks away, we're 18 minutes left to go in this first half. Robert Morris Rugby is brought to you by Angelia's Pizza, proud to be the place that has served Moon Township the best pizza, hoagies, wings, and more for over 30 years. So they've been here longer than you have, right?
Well, I'm also over 30 years, so. But they are right up the road from the university on University, right off of University Boulevard here. So their pizza is good. They've also supported some of the local high school teams. I know that they've supported Moon High School girls in the past as well. So if you're in the area and you are looking for some great takeout, give them a call. Tell them Dave and Smarto sent you.
And they are indeed very active in the community. I was watching some of the things on their Facebook page about all the various teams they've supported. So it's always good to see a business that's giving back to its community. Right now we're with another scrum here. And it'll be, there you go, let's say Bobby Moe, you hear the fans saying, so it'll be Bobby Moe's throw in. Putting that in is their number 9, Aiden Dine. Aiden Dine, number 9.
Great hit. Perfectly, he really lined up to tackle. So let's see if Cal U can.
Well, they're getting there.
Oh, it looks like they've turned it over in contact here. Let's see what if we can hang on and turn into some forward momentum here for the Vulcans.
Well, they've advanced about 10 yards since, but there we have another whistle.
On Robert Morris, so that's 10 more free yards. Let's see what they can do. Last week, the fly half, number 10, Antoine Carter for Cal U, he won their player of the match. So he's one we've been looking to see something, but unfortunately, just because of the way the possession has gone out, he just hasn't had ball in hand very much.
And that ball stayed in. Another kick, but this looks like it's also staying in the field. And good catch there.
Great counter defense by the flanker. He was right there. So that, yeah, their fullback was kind of looking for contact here. Like to, you know, rugby, we like to pretend it's an evasion sport. If you cannot get hit, that is the goal. But I think they were both kind of seeking that out.
So passing off that is, I believe, number 5, Asher Mooring now, who's going to be kicking the ball. And so that one stayed in. So we are going to have a 5-meter scrum here.
Yeah, kind of an interesting strategy. He did take off immediately, so if he might have maybe wanted a little bit more height to see if he could chase his own ball down and see if nobody else was ready.
But now we're bringing it back.
So I believe, Robert Morris would have a choice after the penalty, so they're electing to take it from where the kick was taken to have a scrum restart here. So they'll start out at about the 40 here. So.
And scrum out for Cal's wearing the number 19. So I'm not quite sure if that is Andrew Contreras or if that's another player from the reserves. The reserve numbers, we don't have their jersey numbers, so we'll assume that it's number 9 for now.
Right, looks like we're going to reset this scrum. Going to collapse, but we're going to play on.
Number 8,
a lot of space for number 8.
He's able to dodge 2 tacklers, but he dropped the ball forward. So with that knock, we're going to have another scrum.
Yeah, he was there. He was looking for that offload. And again, I mean, he is obviously their number. Aiden here. He's
freshman.
Obviously an athlete, and he is having a great time running into space. But I don't think he's Usain Bolt. I think everyone else, we got to hustle and stay with him.
Right.
Because we're missing points. When I say we, I mean Robert Morris. I can't help myself. So Robert Morris is kind of leaving some points on the board because we're not supporting the flankers, so the 6 and the 7, should be running with him to keep up that pace right off of those 8-man picks. We're having some stability issues. Now we're going down, straight down, without a playable ball here. So we got to fix something.
And for people who are watching this, I've never been in the scrum, but that's certainly one of the positions you played. Look at the build of these folks. They're all pushing at full strength. So just imagine how much pressure, how many pounds of force there are going on here. And so Ian is pulling them over to have a little chat with them about this, because this could be very dangerous if it's not done correctly.
Yeah, so everyone in this, everyone who does a scrum, it actually works the best when you are pushing the hardest. So right now I think we're having a little bit of an instance, and it doesn't really matter that Cal U is outsized. It's really a strength thing. So if Robert Morris is pushing as hard as they can, but Cal can't meet that force back, you really got to work on, it really comes down to basic body position and just like that core strength and being able to work as a unit. So I was a front row forward, and I do love to scrum, but there are kind of days like this where you're like, we got to like get the ball out though, because this is also like exhausting. So if you're putting all the force you have out over and over and over again, this is really tiring. So that's not going to help the Cal defenders continue to defend in this game, because they're spending a lot of energy scrumming, and then when they get out into open play. All right, we got a penalty on Robert Morris. I think we got a player down here. He's getting up slow. Looks like Cal U prop number 1, Ethan Meyer. He's shaking it off, and he looks like he's probably just about the largest player they have. So I bet he's holding a big brunt of that Robert Morris scrum on his back.
Good defensive efforts so far with Robert Morris, keeping them from getting anywhere. And now we have another whistle.
Yeah, so that same number 1 who struggled to get up after that last scrum, he waved off the trainer, and he took the ball into contact one more time, and now he's definitely in a little bit of pain and needs to be checked out. So as he's getting checked out, Robert Morris is going to huddle over towards their head coach, Sean Crego, who you can see, you might be able to see in the red polo.
While the Cal players being tended to.
This is a league game for both of these teams. So both teams play in the small college division of National Collegiate Rugby. So National Collegiate Rugby is the national organization that organizes certainly all of the local rugby that happens around in the Pittsburgh area.
For the colleges.
For the colleges, yes. Hence the National Collegiate Park. So our local conference here is called the Allegheny Rugby Union. And both of these teams are competing in the small college men's division. That means both of these schools have less than 3,500 male students enrolled. So Cal U and Robert Morris are not in the same division as Pitt or Penn State. They're more grouped with like schools with like resources. So Ethan Meyer, he got checked out. He is going to stay on the field. He did not come off. So he's going to play through the pain. I hope he's making the right call, but medical cleared him to go.
So it's Cal's put. And looks like the ball is almost out there winning this. Well, they were winning the scrum.
Another penalty on Robert Morris. Ian has been doing a great job of managing this, because there's obviously been some difficulty. So because Ian is such a good, high-quality referee, when he referees, there's a lot of talking. He's telling them what he expects, and that allows them to adjust and continue. So if he's warned them about something before, he's not going to let it go. He's going to continue to call penalties. So if Robert Morris continues to have these scrum penalties, be careful, because Ian is see?
Speaking of which.
I'm not a fortune teller, but all I was going to say is that Ian sets expectations, and if you don't meet those expectations, you are going to get yellow carded.
And
so
it looks like we're about to have that.
So number 7 for Robert Morris, Josh Rivas. He's a freshman flanker, and he's going to go sit and think about what he's done for 10 minutes off the field. So
Robert Morris is going to be down a player, and Cal getting ready to kick the ball down the field. Getting it into touch down close to us, and we're just about over by the 45-yard line if this were a football game. So a good chance for them to try to make something happen here as the clock is ticking away in the first half of this game. 80 minutes is a long time, so it would be a bad decision for either team to think, you know, that the first 45 minutes, 42 minutes that we've seen so far is going to be the way that it's going to completely go, because they'll have a chance to get back in this when they take the break here at halftime, and just each team can regroup. So there's the throw. Knocked away, though, to Robert Morris. Again, finding space to break through. Pushing down the field. And being able to stay solid on offense. With the ruck, winning that ruck, well, there's advantage because you're not supposed to do that. So there we have, Robert Morris has a chance to make something happen.
Cal U has been a little offsides on their defensive line. So defensively, you need to be starting behind the last player who's in the ruck. Cal U's starting to get a little chippy. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have time because we had a little bit of a late hit here coming in.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was late, but it definitely was not.
Yeah, and we just had a mess, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, so it looked like the Cal U. So here are just some basic laws. Ian just called over both captains. I'm sure he gave them a quick conversation that they need to address their team. So here's just some quick laws about rugby, because particularly around the contact area and tackling, because I hear this all the time, and from coaching and playing, both of us is like, but you guys don't wear any pads. You don't wear any pads. How do you tackle? You don't wear any pads. The technique is your head has to go to the outside of your head should be to the outside of the body, so your head is not getting crushed. You have to tackle below chest height, and this is really important, you must wrap.
Right.
So this is the best example. Think about a wide receiver in football coming across the field. You know, they jump into the air, great catch, but they can get hit while still in the air, and just like a shoulder charge from a linebacker, and just obliterates these guys who are totally defenseless. You cannot hit like that in rugby because it's not safe for the tackler or the ball carrier. So if all tackles must go to ground, which means you have to wrap and leave your feet the same way that the ball carrier is leaving his feet. So you can't pick people up, you can't drop them, you can't tip them over and dump them on their heads. So those are some of the basics of how we're keeping safe, especially if you're new and you're watching and you're like, how are we in this much contact? And no one's wearing a helmet or anything.
Right.
But I did talk through some play, so.
so we had a kick back into touch for Robert Morris, and with this line out now, number 2, Nick Haynes, getting ready to throw the ball in. And so far, there's been all of the lineouts have been good in terms of the ball going in straight, and that was another one of those. Number 9 to number 8, pushing through. Again, he's got a lot of green space and a lot of Cal players who need to cover those holes if they want to stop this from being a blowout here.
Yeah, so I don't know much about, but Aiden Mazrico, the freshman 8-man that we've seen carrying ball in hand a lot, he's also been very physical on defense. He's going to be a player to watch. I don't know if he has, a lot of these kids don't have high school rugby experience.
Right.
A lot of these kids are recruited at the club, involvement fair, activities fair that happen in the first few weeks of school, and then they just pick it up. So there's a good chance, a lot of these kids they might, like these freshmen on both sides of the ball could be
the second game, first or second game they've ever played.
Right.
And that's why, when we're talking about the things about the danger of what you can't tackle in the air, the sort of things that do to keep people from being hit. A lot of times in a game like this, when you see mistakes being made, it's simply out of ignorance that they just don't know. They haven't learned yet what they can't. Oh, they've been told what they can and can't do, but it may not necessarily register. You get a yellow card, it should register, but.
Right. So.
Cal breaking through out of that.
Yeah. The defender.
Morris is being pretty stubborn on their defense here, keeping them from really getting much further down the field than they were before. And there we have a bad.
That was a very late hit.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go Ian Seaton to
There's
the pocket
another
again.
Yellow card.
Number 20, believe he was one of. So the rule about tackling here. So you can't hit somebody without the ball. So there was on the replay, it had already happened, but that other player who got hit, he did not have the ball in hand. The play had moved on. He had plenty of time to not hit him, but he carried through with it anyway, and that's not safe, and that's why that's a penalty. No problem. So right now we're playing 14-on-14 rugby because both teams have a player sitting out.
Who will be out for 10 minutes. And I believe both of those came with less than 10 minutes to play in the half, so they'll be carrying over to the second half.
Oh, no. Robert Morris is down 2. Down 2 players. It's 15-on-13. I'm so sorry. I forgot. Robert Morris already has one out. Their number 7 went out. This is why I wrote everything down, and I went back to my notes, and I'm like, I can't keep track. It's only been 3 minutes. I don't know why. So Robert Morris is 2 players down right now, both for contact infringements, tackling infringements. So if Cal U has an opportunity to gain forward, this would probably be it. If they can get some points on the board before half in the next 3 minutes or so.
That could mean a lot.
That would be a lot. And just as a reminder, so this is not the official time.
Right.
So when this goes to 0, that doesn't necessarily mean that the half will be over. Center referee Ian Seaton, he has a watch, and he's in charge of the time. And there could be stoppage time that has to play on. And it's not like a hard stop like it is in basketball or anything. Like there will be a natural progression to when the play stops.
And we've stopped, I believe, twice, stopped the clock for maybe a minute or 2 combined between both instances. And the play doesn't just stop when the clock hits 0 either. So we're getting ready for this line out by White. Robert Morris leading 17-0 as the clock ticks away. And they want another line out. Stumbled, but again, being able to keep going forward despite pretty solid line of Plaid trying to stop Robert Morris, but they're able to advance. And winning this ruck, number 3 pushing right through. He's getting the support that he needs to form another ruck and try to advance the ball further, 1 man at a time if necessary. Almost had a knock there. Breaking free.
Yeah, still working this short side of the ball here, trying to suck. And the Cal U defense, I can see a lot of them in this screen, so there must be space out wide.
So, would you have done that?
So he had an opportunity where he could have.
Oh,
well, see, it worked out for him sometimes when you gamble. So what's fun about rugby is that every time something happens, you have a decision. So the Cal U, I believe that was their fullback, when he fielded the ball in their own try zone, he had an opportunity, he had a choice. If he grounded the ball, that would have allowed for him to have a 22 dropout.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he would have been able to have a drop kick on the 22 out to his own team. He decided instead just to play on. He kicked it out. Oh, but they called it back because we had another penalty. Maybe that's why he kicked it out, because they were playing up the penalty. We didn't see that part. So anyway, Robert Morris, they didn't field cleanly, but there was an earlier penalty we're going to go back to. If you're listening and you're like, what are the words that you're even saying? Honestly, don't.
Don't worry, it's a flexible game. A lot of things happening all at once, and it's easy sometimes to be to wonder what's happening. Okay, so the ball's out. That could have been a little bit messy, but number 9 taking that. He's trying to get through, but there he goes. And Scrummy's in, so we've got
probably a little forward action.
Looks like number 8 wants to be able to get that ball in there, but we have another whistle, and
is that the half? I think so, because
so he is calling it. Okay.
And the band is playing, so all right, that's half. So Robert Morris at home, the home team, is currently winning 17-0 over the Cal U Vulcans. So if you were Cal U coach, Dave, what would you be telling your team going into halftime here, how to regroup and try to bounce back with a 2-person advantage going into the second half?
I would say what they need to do is just calm down, slow it down a little bit, be wise, be smart. They're making some basic mistakes, I think. Nothing that's devastating, but it's devastating as far as they're trailing Robert Morris 17-0. So calm down, make the right decision, don't be too eager, and don't be worried by a 17-0 deficit at the half, because we've seen teams that have been up 35-0 with 12 minutes left in the game, and the next thing you know, they've lost. So there's a lot of time, a lot of fluidity. So play-wise, maybe take advantage of the mistakes that Robert Morris has been making, that they're down 2 players right now because of yellow cards. So you've got the advantage to try to do that. So just, think of it sort of like chess. Try to outsmart them a little bit here.
Yeah, there should be gaps for Robert Morris somewhere, and Cal U will be kicking off to start the half, and we've already seen them with some aggressive kickoff maneuvers. So there's going to be more space out there, so that could be an opportunity for them. They definitely have some guys with some speed. They just can't keep the balls in their hands long enough for them to really use their athleticism. So maybe one strategy coming out of this kickoff would be, hey, let's kick it deep, and let's try to go get it.
Right.
Let's try and put some pressure on Robert Morris a little deeper. Way. That could start opening up the floodgates for them here soon if CalU can't like mentally stay in that game.
And so that nowhere close to 10, so we're going to have a scrum, 50-meter. A scrum at the 50-meter mark.
Yeah, so that was like we were saying earlier, you know, so the set pieces, those two things is scrums and lineouts and a kickoff, arguably, technically. So, but usually when we say set pieces, people are just referring to scrums and lineouts. They've won every single one and have really been pushing CalU around. So they interesting. We'll see how this goes. So because they're down a player, they don't have an 8-man.
Right.
So they are going to feed it. So they're going to. So Aiden Dine is going to be responsible.
Well,
that worked out, because sometimes
through.
that can be dodgy on how that comes out.
He was able to. Now again, the far blue line is touch, so don't be confused by those other lines on the field.
He tried to, number 14, our most recent try scorer, he tried to keep the ball live, shaking off some defenders, but it didn't quite happen, so.
So now they are going to kick him to touch.
I must have had a penalty called. I missed what Ian indicated. So they're going to kick it out again. And we'll see reset from a line out. Knocking on the door here. Right inside the 20. Well, if they kicked it into the band, they might never get it back. So
hopefully it didn't land in the tuba.
The band's really they like coming to two of my players are in the band right now, so they're excited to be here. The rest of the women's team is here. In the event that you're being a real pro and you're listening and watching, they are selling popcorn as a fundraiser. So if you're here and you want some fresh movie theater popcorn and like to support Robert Morris Rugby, you go ahead right on down to the top of the bleachers here and you can find my players.
We're going to have a scrum here, and after you enjoy the popcorn, be sure to head over to Angelia's Pizza, making all of this possible tonight. So, we've got our scrum.
Looks like CalU's made a substitution at scrum half.
Yeah, and we apologize to the Cal players. We don't have the jersey numbers for the reserves, so we may not be able to correctly identify those players.
So we had a penalty on the Robert Morris hooker. So how this works is that when the ball goes, so it's called the tunnel. The space on the ground in between both scrums is called the tunnel. And the player in the center of the front row is called the hooker. And they use their feet to hook the ball back under them. And the defensive player, so Robert Morris's foot, you can't put your foot up early trying to defend. So he picked his foot up before the ball was in, and that's why they got that penalty.
That's a penalty now against Robert Morris.
High tackle. Let's see what Cal can do here. They're going to try and run it out.
Able to make much happen here in offense because they're being stopped by Robert Morris almost with every step they take. There we go, trying to push it forward. Maybe it would have been a good idea to try to kick the ball downfield and see if somebody's going to do that. No, instead we have some action going on here.
Yeah, he came in really high on that one. So
it's going to lead to another talking to, and maybe there we go. There.
I was worried for a red. So number 8, we've said his name a lot tonight.
Aiden Mazurku.
Aiden Mazurku is going to go take a 10-minute break. He the 3rd yellow card for Robert Morris tonight.
And if you're Coach Crago, what are you saying to your guys tomorrow or after the game?
Well, I would be telling them now that they need to really watch it because, like, if it turns into if any of these yellow cards are warning penalties, you get a 10-minute out. If they turn into reds, not only are you out for the rest of this game, you're now going to be suspended for possibly next week and the week after. So I would be telling my players right now, we are up by 24. We need to be playing smart, and we need to be playing safely because it is not worth, with such a healthy, they're, playing like this is a healthy lead they have. They're not in jeopardy fighting tooth and nail to be playing such a risky way.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is that, how do I delicately say this? There's some referees who have various degrees of experience as well, and various degrees of self-discipline. And so someone may get a yellow card the next week. But there we go. Did we get this try awarded?
Oh yeah, so that's going to be number 9. We're saying his name tonight.
Aiden Dunn at number 9.
He's going to put him up 29-0.
And he's going to most likely try for the conversion kick as he's been making the kicks. But the point you were saying, too, you just have to be careful about these yellow cards because 2 yellow cards equal a red. And if you have a bunch of them carrying over from week to week, that's also the sort of thing that, thank God I'm no longer the head of discipline for the ARU anymore. But those are the types of things that you deal with on a weekly basis. Say, oh, so-and-so got a yellow card. And the coach may not even realize that they got one the week before. Remember that they got one. So you get to place the call and say, hey, guess what? So-and-so can't play now for a couple of weeks. And that kick was good. The kick was fine by Aiden Dunn at number 9. And we've got a big lead here now for Robert Morris against Cal.
Yeah.
And again, it's just a matter of staying focused here by Cal, making sure they know what they're doing for the most part. I mean, it's just being able to stay disciplined, stay focused, and don't make any dumb decisions. Don't let your anger get the better of you either, because that's actually it's Robert Morris where we're seeing who's getting penalized with all of the yellow cards for doing this. But again, a lot of time for them to try to make something happen here.
Yeah, I hope we don't see a slip into some, chippy play or anything because, when the score starts to be this way, both teams start to feel a little bit like they don't have anything to lose.
Right.
But you want to maintain your squad for the rest of the night and, of course, for the rest of the season. So hopefully everyone can keep their composure, and we know that Ian is talking to them constantly and telling them, like, everyone needs to be cool. He's already called the captains in. But it would be nice to see if, we're still waiting to see all these little components. You can see they have athletes.
Mm-hmm.
There are kids out there who are threats, but they just are, maybe lacking the experience and the execution of putting those pieces together.
Right. And guys like Crago have been doing a great job of bringing the sport to high school athletes as well with the West Allegheny team that I believe he's a part of, and some of the ones that they have at Moon on Monday nights. I believe actually at the stadium they have touch rugby. So, but a lot of these players are new to the game because it's not like football where they're playing. And they're good breakthrough and almost
nice tackle.
Question. Well, it was a little high, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we'll see. And yep, he is going to say something about it. So
we're getting a little.
As we were saying, this is the point where you don't want to get chippy and start to feel that they don't have anything to lose.
It was a high. Correct. So I did say it was a great tackle. It was a violent. It was a. His angle was right. He made that nice. Keeping the speed and making an open field tackle like that is very difficult. So yes, he was high, but he's like, it's like, that's kind of what I think I'm leaning towards is Cal U has some athleticism, but they don't quite have the experience to keep the penalties down, keep the tackles down. getting those kicks that they're losing, that they're not going all the way to touch.
Right.
Stuff like that. They're like, they have the right ideas, but they just don't quite have their, their skills up enough to play against Robert Morris right now.
So here we go with this line out by Robert Morris. And they want another line out, and
nice
trying
little
to
dummy
get out
run.
to the backs and getting out to number 13 to 15. He's wide open, and number 15, Evan Krutz, junior fullback, being able to add another 5 points to Robert Morris, as homecoming is going to be a very big game for the Colonials.
Yeah, the band is starting to get busy here.
And I assume he's getting ready to do the conversion kick. And again, as we were noting earlier in the game, the kick needs to be made from the same point where the ball went down as it was touched down in the try zone. And he's got a very good lineup here. Good angle to try to just make this through. And the touch judges will help the referee decide if it was good or not. And one says yes. I think that looked like that was a good call. Again, typically for a game, you will have assistant referees who, depending on the league of the game, the proficiency of the game, the people who are behind it, sometimes they're going to be officially trained referees who are making these decisions. Other times it's somebody who's standing on the sideline with the team, maybe somebody who's never even played the game before. They say, you get to run touch tonight.
Well, Ian never played. He refereed before he played, and now, so.
Yeah, right, but I'm saying in terms of like just grabbing somebody to play touch, they need to guide the referee to let them know whether
This is this will always be my forever shameless plug, is that, if you are listening and you want to get a great way to get involved in rugby, even speaking of Ian Seaton, he started refereeing before he ever played.
Right.
So you can start by learning the rules of, the sideline rules, and you can help assign a referee, and you start from touch. It's a great way to stay involved.
Right.
I believe he's a sub. I haven't seen him yet, but that was a great run. 17?
KJ Everett.
It was just like a nice little athletic run. He's holding on to the ball, though. Yeah. So I think Robert Morris has put. Oh, that's 11. I'm sorry. It's just kind of. Yep, that's number 11. My bad.
Kyle Conley.
Senior wing. Haven't seen him in much action here today, but that was a pretty nice run. We've got some subs coming on from Cal U.
You're watching Robert Morris Rugby presented by Angelia's Pizza, located just right around the corner from Joe Walton Stadium. So if you're watching the game from home, why not give them a call? Go online and place an order. And Cal finally able to make some momentum here, pushing forward down to about the 35. Going into the tackle, but he needs support to come forward and not stand there. So let's see as we come out of this ruck. Moving forward, they've got pressure enough to create a ruck.
Robert Morris has consistently had pretty good defensive line speed. So when the ball comes out, they're allowed to move forward, and they are putting a lot of pressure on Cal U. He is calling them for a penalty. I believe they're losing their feet in that ruck, so they'll have to go back 10. But defensively, they've looked pretty organized, and the appearance of organization sometimes is enough to spook an attack. But this is going to be the best opportunity Cal U has had
for quite some time, probably since the opening minutes of the game, if I'm not mistaken, that we've seen them being able to try to make something happen this close to the try zone.
Making some changes here. So decided to keep it in attacking tight in that channel.
And Robert Morris lining up solidly in defense to try to prevent anything from happening. and doing a good job of keeping Cal at check here. And there we had some messiness here. So we're going to play advantage, it looks like.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell, but it looked like somehow in that Robert Morris might have reached for it and knocked it backward. So it looked like, I thought that the scrum half lost it, but somehow Robert Morris got a hand on that, which is knocking it forward for them. So we're going to reset. So Cal U, they had a few possessions, but they actually went back a few yards. They're moving it. Their attack so far is having a hard time breaking that gate line. So now they've moved from that line out. They've had 3 possessions, and they haven't gone forward yet. They've kept the ball, but they cannot seem to break this defensive line of Robert Morris.
Ball's in, ball's out. I believe that's Malik Smith who was pushing the ball forward, carrying the ball forward. Robert Morris having nothing of it. They're able, again, to keep Cal stymied.
Pretty sure that's the 8-man for Cal U, Abram King. He's had a lot of hard yards tonight. He's taken the ball a lot. He's made a lot of tackles. You can see him with the white leg sleeve, and he's been in a lot of contact tonight for Cal.
And they lost possession of the ball, so now, but we just had another knock by Robert Morris, so a bit of a break here for Cal as we are closer and closer to the end zone for them.
Yeah, and we're kind of hitting the end of like what, kind of the third quarter here. We're in the last 20 of the match. Not really, I don't know so much about the uprising, but there is opportunities for Cal to score here.
Sure. I think that as soon as they get their first set of points on the board, if they can do that, I think mentally that will do a lot for them to be able to just get them psyched to try to take advantage of what they can. And again, just play smart. I think that's the biggest challenge they've been having at this point. And the scrums, early in the first half of the game, we were having a lot of scrums that were kind of, was having some chats with them about everything. So again, the stress and toll that takes on their body, maybe we're starting to see some of that come into play here as well.
Yeah, a little bit of fatigue, and when you start making subs, into possibly some more inexperienced players, then you kind of have to start having those talks all over again.
Right.
I know that Robert Morris just made, a sub in the forward pack here, and so it's like, this is his first scrum, this is everyone else's 50th scrum, so it's like, hey, by the way, we've been talking about this for an hour.
So ball's out, but again, they're just not able to maintain control, and we hear a whistle again.
Yeah. Unfortunately, trying to field that loose ball, he ran out of bounds, crossing that sky blue line for out of bounds. So we'll have a line out to Robert Morris on the 25 heading out.
So a good break for them, and again, they've just been doing very well with their set play with these line outs. And doing a remarkable job of keeping them straight, too. Not one has been sent back. Say, do it over. And number 8, I believe, breaking through. Shirt tackles don't usually work, so he's able to offload it to his teammate, get it out.
That's 8. Now that I'm looking, 8 and 6 really look like a lot. I really hope we've been giving the right ones the right credit all night, because one of them just passed to the other. Now I'm not very confident which one of them is which. But I think this is 8 here. He's a little... Aiden is a little taller than Nick. Because I was like, oh, that's number 8. Then they pass. I go, no, that's number 8. We're amateurs here too, folks. So we just want. I would just feel so bad if I day was giving the wrong guy the wrong credit.
Well, plus keep in mind a lot of these teams need to keep the jerseys from year to year as well, so they can't put the names on them. And the graphics may look good in the catalog or on the website when you're ordering them, but sometimes they're a little bit difficult to see from outside. Though I think that's a bigger challenge we're having with the Cal jerseys tonight. But Let's see as they get ready for this kick.
Let's see. All right, we're going to keep this one in play.
But I don't know, I probably would have aimed to kick that a little bit further down the field if you can. Send your backs chasing forward. Number 8 breaking through, at least able to push through this Robert Morris defense and drag them down the field back into their own territory.
Yeah, if I was, if we were a little late.
There we go.
The 8-man for Cal U, Abram King, he's really impressed me tonight for Cal. He's been just like an absolute workhorse. He's taken a lot of these forward punches, and he's just been thumping for Cal U all night against a very difficult defense.
And Robert Morris being sent back tends to another opportunity for Cal. They did the kick, breaking through.
Great little footwork there.
Heading off to number 12, Nick Croyle. Ooh, number 4 breakthrough, but lost the ball, and it is recovered by
Robert Morris. Yeah, just an
it looks like they just lost possession of it as well, so we have some knocks, and this is going to be a scrum to White.
Just an unlucky play. They're finally starting to get a little momentum. He got stripped going into contact, came forward. Robert Morris also lost the ball in contact, so we're going to start over with the scrum. Looks like Robert Morris is making a sub here. I believe that's number 2, Nick Haynes, hooker, we've been talking about all night. He's retiring for the rest of the game. Had a really nice game. He, all those lineouts and all those lineout throws were on the money all night. Not a single one called back, not straight. So great game to Nick Haynes. Didn't quite catch the number of his replacement.
That would be Joe Pisagno. So coming out of the scrum, Robert Morris has it, number 8, breaking through. The tackle here, hard tackle.
Yeah, so that's what we discussed earlier exactly of like what, that's very illegal because that was just a strict shoulder charge. He made no attempt to bend his knees and wrap. He just threw his shoulder in him. That's more of a football style hit, but we're not wearing pads, so that's very dangerous. So that's an immediate yellow for Cal U. And putting them down a player this late in the game is definitely going to put them at a deficit. I didn't quite count. We're going to watch the hit again here. Yeah, that's number 13, Emilio Valentine. For Cal U's first yellow of the game.
And we're going to have this line out down at about the 45-meter line, 45 yards since we're on the football field. And we'll see how the new hooker is making these throws.
Ian Seaton, he's pushing back the rest of the players. So everyone, if you're not in the line out, you have to be back 10 from the play. So you could see sometimes they're starting to creep up. He was pushing them back,
So that line wasn't going to stop. I don't necessarily think that was the hooker's fault, but now we have something that should not be going on, and we'll see what the consequences of this is going to be here.
We're getting chippy. We're getting cranky. It's the end of the game. So if Robert Morris player felt like he got a late shove. I'm assuming there was some sort of exchanging of words, and then they're starting to go towards each other. So good for, you can see the more experienced players were immediately like, we're not doing this, guys.
Right.
The younger players getting a little more heated. But with the score that's this lopsided, this is the worst time to get engaged in that kind of tomfoolery. So this is when you've got to keep your cool. stay level-headed because, you know, you're representing yourself and your school, and there's no point in.
Right. And the worst consequence than a yellow card is a red card. If that happens, you're not only out of this game, but you're not playing next week either. And college teams in particular usually can't afford to lose a player because they're, especially at the club level, they're always looking for players, and not having somebody available is not good. And some bad ball handling here. So we're going to have a scrum or an opportunity for Cal to try to make something happen. Here's we watch the clock tick away, and I don't believe we've had any significant stoppages for any injuries or anything during this half, so we'll see if Cal can make something happen in these final 11 minutes, or if Robert Morris, that steamroller, is just going to continue here at Joe Walton Stadium.
A little bit of a good shove going here. I can't see the ball.
Nor can I, but Robert Morris emerges with it, number 8, breaking through a couple of tackles. He needs his support.
Great support coming in on that ruck. That was excellent, clearing out that CalU. The Robert Morris player clearing out for CalU.
And number 13 is out to number 18. Again, going into the tackle, which is fine in rugby. Don't worry about it. It's about possession.
Good distribution.
And number 12
there.
just went right through a couple of people wearing Cal uniforms. And Caden Owens putting 5 more points on the board for the Robert Morris Colonials.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hat trick. Here for Caden. So regardless of the penalties and whatever, Robert Morris is still just, there's no way to kill time in rugby.
Right.
You know, there's none of that. So all you can do is continue to score. So Robert Morris is trying to stay focused. They're still, and this is so early in the season, you want these guys to keep playing the game plan all the way out, because the subs you've put in need to learn it.
Right.
And this is the opportunities for them to learn it, because they might not get as much playing time, you know, in a tighter game where maybe you can't afford, you know, to sub in and sacrifice that depth.
So Aiden Dine will try to make this conversion. Again, he's been lucky that his players who've been scoring have been putting the ball down almost right in the smack in the middle of the goalposts. So let's see if he's able to make this worth 2 more points. And that kick is up. And it's good.
A little low, but it made it over. That takes us to a clean 45-0 for Robert Morris here. We are now.
And again, they'll be receiving the ball again as Cal kicks it to them, and the clock's ticking away. And so now it's important for Cal just to stay focused. Try not to make any bad mistakes. Do what you can do to keep something happen, to put something on the board, because again, they're just being, I don't know, maybe it's the fatigue that's starting to kick in with them tonight. I'm not quite sure. But the basic talent is there. It's just getting the skills down to where they need to be. And there we see exactly what we're talking about, but
It was short. Right, like, yeah, everything for CalU tonight has been,
could have been
so close.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I think, and you know what? Like, that's a good place to start.
Right.
Is you can see that they are trying things. They are trying to do these aggressive kickoffs where they receive their own kick, which I love. And you don't see that as often in 15s as you do as 7s.
Right.
And you can tell both, like Robert Morris keeps getting caught by surprise by it. But, you know, that means the kick has to be on every single time. So, and they have really speedy guys. They just, when they have ball in hand, very quick. But really shout out to Robert Morris. They've been well drilled, even though it's early in the season, and they are staying organized.
So the ball's out to number 8.
Little mishandle by the wing. He started looking at the try zone before he caught the ball, and sometimes you get a little eager.
As the cliche goes, you don't want to put the cart before the horse. So we're down here at about the 40 with this scrum by Black.
We're going to have another penalty for Robert Morris. They're lifting up. So there's some penalties that the front row can commit. So this guy here, let's see if he's through finally. Been waiting for the speed off of him all day.
He needs his teammates to get up there a little bit faster, but they're there now.
That was Antoine Carter, Cal U's man of the match last week. And here we've finally broken through. Did he get in?
And it looks like he did. And there's the signal. Try awarded. So 5 points now on the board with about 5.5 minutes left in the game for Cal.
There we go.
And again, even though it's late in the game, these things make a difference mentally, and just it's so important to actually see that, oh, this is not a completely wasted effort by the team. And it really is, and it's a chance for them to show what they can do with these final 5.5 minutes in the game. And we haven't had a chance to see who's doing the kicks or how they're going about them, so let's see if they're able to make this a 7-point series of events.
Yeah, we've seen, and so the Antoine Carter, every time he gets the ball, you can see he's obviously very fast. He's very quick, and every time he gets the ball, he's turning to see if he can turn the corner on somebody. And, maybe last week against John Carroll, or they played Kenyon, excuse me, last week. Maybe that worked against Kenyon, but it's not working against Robert Morris. So, all right, there's two more. So, if he can learn to, turn his hips and run a little more north-south, run a little more straight, and if he can find the gaps in between defenders instead of always trying to go around, he'll probably be way more of a threat with the ball. But that's what I was looking for. But he's just had a hard time with ball in hand tonight.
So is there some dispute about that? Because they haven't put there we go. There's the 7 points on the board. So 45-7, the lead Robert Morris has over Cal right now. And now, for the first time, Cal's getting the ball. And now Robert Morris needs to stay smart. There we have a knock. And so again, every time where we could have had something really start to light the fire here for Cal, just again, what could have been. So close in so many cases here tonight.
Yeah, but I think, this is a good test for Cal, especially since, like I mentioned a little earlier, there has been a reorganization in the local league. So this is, they're playing different teams than they're used to. And so maybe some of the stuff that they've been, last year I could just run around guys, but now you're in a more difficult league, and now they're playing a little more organized rugby instead of just playing, athletes against athletes.
Ball's out. Number 14 able to break through a challenger, breaking through 2. He's going to evade one more tackle and put 5 more points on the board for Robert Morris. So again, they had a chance, Cal, to make a statement and say, well, you're not just going to roll over us, but now RMU's been able to add 5 more points to there, and we'll see if Aiden Dine is going to be able to put 2 more points with this conversion.
Yeah, I know it's a bummer for Cal, but as the home team, loving it. The home team is really excited to be, getting a win on homecoming weekend. There's obviously the football game this weekend and all other kinds of festivities, alumni coming into town. So this is a great way for the school to start off the weekend with a win. And that'll get these guys amped up. The women's team, we're also playing this weekend. We'll be away at Youngstown. Excuse me. We'll be playing at Youngstown State in a small round-robin tournament with them and St. Vincent College.
Aiden's taking his time, getting ready to try to put these 2 points on the board. And we'll see if the kick is good. goes.
A low kick, but they're getting over the crossbar here. Another 2 points for
RMU. And you have to wonder if he's starting to feel the effects of the night as well, too, because these have been two that have been fairly easy shots, but just barely going over the crossbow.
Yeah, he is making a choice to, in my opinion, he's getting kind of far away. I feel like he could get a little closer, but he really
and he could
get a little more lift. Yeah, he could.
Yeah, he could go if he wanted to right up against the blue where it says Colonials if he wanted to.
So we're down to a minute here, but so we'll have probably this will probably be our last kickoff for the evening. But if you have tuned in and listened to me and Baller kind of jammer on here for the last 80 minutes, we appreciate you tuning in and cheering on. Whether you're rooting for Robert Morris or Cal U or just kind of tuning in to watch a friend, we appreciate you tuning in and supporting college rugby. Getting more eyes on is always a good thing. So Cal U fumbling it a little bit. We have a knock, but we're playing advantage. A little messy here.
Which is something the referee can do. If he sees something that shouldn't be, but he feels the other team has an opportunity to try to make something of it, he'll give them the advantage of doing that. And then if they can't do it, they'll go back to where the initial no happened and then take it from there. So we're going to have a scrum with less than a minute to go in the game.
Yeah, this is very likely to be the last play, restart of the game. If not, we're getting very close to it. So like we said, so the clock you're seeing now says 0, but that's not how rugby games end. So we're going to play out from here. It looks like
he's going to kick into touch, and that should do it.
All right.
So that is the end of the game. So Robert Morris, 52-7 over Cal. The Vulcans came here for their homecoming weekend to visit Robert Morris. And overall, I think a strong night definitely for Robert Morris, wouldn't you say? From what we've been saying, they did a great job with their lineouts. They did a great job offensively. Their backs able to just break through tackles, plow down the field, knock through. The cons, though, are certainly one yellow card is too many, and certainly what we've seen tonight was definitely way too many for a promising team otherwise. And I think also with Cal, it's just a matter of all so close so many times where something could have happened that could have made a difference, but whether it was just bad luck or a bad decision or dropping the ball when you shouldn't have, it just wasn't able to go their way. So I think although the score was 52-7, it could have been a lot closer than it was, and there was every opportunity for Cal to try to make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're looking at two teams who are 1-1 in the league. It's only the second week of the season, so even though Robert Morris put up big.
This I believe is the third game for Robert Morris.
Right, but their first game inside UP wasn't league play.
Oh, okay, got it.
So
okay.
They're both 1-1 in the league. There's still a lot of time for these teams to grow and get better. Robert Morris right now, from what we can see, even though they dropped their first, they've rebounded from that loss against John Carroll with a kind of an emphatic win here tonight. And Cal U, they had a strong win, and now they've been pushed back, but that challenge helps them get better looking forward to the rest of the season. So if you want to follow more college rugby, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, follow these teams at Cal U Rugby and RMU Rugby. You can also follow the league at Allegheny Rugby Union on Facebook and on Instagram. And if you want to see what's going on big and wide in college rugby, go and follow National Collegiate Rugby on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So thanks so much for tuning in tonight, and thank you so much to our sponsor, Angelia's Pizza, right up the hill here in Moon Township. Thanks so much for Robert Morris for inviting us back and doing this game once a year is always really fun for me, Angela Smarto, and for
David Ballarotto. And we wish you a good night. Thank you for joining us tonight from Joe Walton Stadium for Robert Morris Rugby, presented by Angelia's Pizza.